When Barron Trump became the center of a cultural storm, it began as just another night in the dazzling world of late-night television. The cameras rolled, the lights bathed the stage in a familiar glow, and the audience at a bustling studio in Burbank, California, eagerly leaned in, waiting to laugh. The host, known for his sharp tongue and fearless humor, was in his element. His jokes, often laced with political jabs, had become a staple of the nation's entertainment. But then, something changed. Midway through his monologue, the host turned his attention to a target no one expected. Barron Trump, the teenage son of the former president and first lady. His words, delivered with a smile, cut like a razor. The punchline hit, and laughter rippled through the room. Yet, it wasn't the hearty, carefree laughter the host was used to. It was nervous, uneven. Some chuckled, unsure of themselves, while others glanced around, visibly uncomfortable. This wasn't just a joke, it was personal. Within hours, the moment went viral. Social media platforms exploded like fireworks on a dark night, with hashtags like #BarronTrump and #ProtectOurKids trending worldwide. Memes spread like wildfire alongside heated debates. Some defended the host, calling the remark just a joke, while others labeled it tasteless, a cheap shot at a child who had never asked to be in the spotlight. At Mar-a-Lago, Melania Trump sat in silence as the clip replayed on her screen. Her expression was unreadable, but those close to her could see the storm brewing. For years, she had endured ridicule and criticism as a public figure. But this wasn't about her. It was about Barron, her son, her priority, her heart. Melania had always shielded Barron from the relentless glare of the public eye, but this attack felt different. It wasn't just a fleeting insult. It was a wound, and she wasn't about to let it go unanswered. She reached for her laptop, her fingers trembling with equal parts anger and determination. A statement wouldn't suffice this time. Words alone wouldn't convey the depth of her resolve. This was bigger than a press release. This was war. By morning, her team had issued a carefully crafted statement, condemning the host's comments as not just inappropriate, but harmful. It struck a chord with many sparking discussions about the boundaries of comedy. But for Melania, the statement was only the beginning. She wanted action. Behind closed doors, she consulted one of the most formidable defamation attorneys in the country, a legal powerhouse known for taking down Goliaths. Together, they filed a lawsuit against the host and his network, alleging defamation and emotional distress. The legal document wasn't just a list of grievances. It was a bold declaration that some lines should never be crossed. The host, initially unfazed, responded with his signature confidence. "Comedy pushes boundaries," he quipped on his next broadcast. But his tone betrayed him. What once came off as fearless now felt defensive. He framed the lawsuit as an attack on free speech, a challenge to his right to provoke and entertain. Yet behind the scenes, cracks began to form. Sponsors started pulling their ads from the show, unwilling to associate with the controversy. The network executives, once his staunch allies, now seemed distant. The public was divided, but the tide was turning. For Melania, the fight wasn't about silencing humor or settling scores. It was about sending a message to the host, to the media, and to every parent watching. Children are off limits. And as the lawsuit gained traction, it became clear that this wasn't just about one joke or one family. It was about defining the boundaries of decency in an age where clicks and views often take precedence over humanity. Still, no one could have anticipated what would come next. The trial that changed everything. As the lawsuit against the late-night host gained momentum, the story spiraled into something far bigger than anyone could have predicted. It wasn't just about Barron Trump anymore. It had become a cultural battlefield. On one side, Melania Trump, armed with her unwavering maternal instinct and a team of top-tier lawyers. On the other, a host who had built his career on pushing boundaries, now standing at the center of a controversy that threatened to consume him. The courtroom became the stage for a showdown that captivated the nation. Journalists camped outside the courthouse, their cameras capturing every glance, every gesture, every moment. Inside, the tension was palpable as the trial unfolded like a gripping drama. The prosecution wasted no time setting the tone. They played the infamous clip in full, the host's joke echoing through the silent chamber. Melania's lawyer, calm yet commanding, addressed the jury. This is not about silencing free speech. This is about protecting a child who never asked to be part of this world. Humor is powerful, but when it's weaponized against the innocent, it ceases to be comedy. It becomes cruelty. The argument landed with a weight that hung in the air, impossible to ignore. On the other side, the defense leaned heavily on the First Amendment, painting the host as a misunderstood artist who dared to challenge societal norms. They argued that satire had always targeted public figures and that Melania's lawsuit was a dangerous precedent, threatening to stifle creativity. But the courtroom drama took a sharp turn when the prosecution introduced a surprise witness, William Carter, a former production assistant who had worked on the host's show. Carter's testimony was a bombshell. He described a toxic workplace where controversy was king and where jokes were carefully crafted not just for humor, but for maximum outrage. He presented emails and internal documents that revealed the joke about Barron wasn't spontaneous. It had been planned, debated, and approved by higher-ups. One email in particular stood out. "This will spark outrage. Controversy equals ratings." The revelation sent shockwaves through the courtroom. The narrative had shifted. This wasn't just a comedian making an off-the-cuff remark. It was a calculated move by a corporate machine, designed to exploit a teenager for profit. The host's legal team scrambled to recover, arguing that their client wasn't involved in the decision-making process. But the damage was done. The public, already divided, began to lean heavily in Melania's favor. Outside the courtroom, the revelations fueled a media firestorm. News outlets dissected every detail. Talk shows debated the ethics of comedy, and social media became a battleground of opposing opinions. Parents across the country rallied behind Melania, sharing their own stories of protecting their children from bullying and exploitation. The defense attempted to strike back, bringing in prominent comedians to testify about the importance of satire in challenging power. One even argued, "If we start policing jokes, where does it end? Satire is meant to provoke. It's how we grow as a society." But the jury wasn't swayed. As the trial reached its conclusion, Melania's lawyer delivered a closing argument that left the courtroom in stunned silence. This isn't about limiting free speech. It's about accountability. Humor should inspire, not harm. And when a joke comes at the expense of a child's dignity, we must draw the line. After hours of deliberation, the jury returned with their verdict. The host was found liable for defamation, and the network was ordered to pay substantial damages. The ruling sent ripples through the entertainment industry, forcing networks to reconsider their approach to humor. For the host, the fallout was swift and severe. Sponsors fled, his network distanced itself, and his show was suspended indefinitely. The once bold comedian now faced a harsh reality. His actions had consequences, and the public was no longer willing to excuse cruelty disguised as comedy. But the trial's impact didn't end there. It sparked a nationwide conversation about the boundaries of humor and the ethics of entertainment. Parents began to demand greater accountability from media outlets, while comedians reevaluated their material, recognizing that cheap shots weren't worth the cost. Melania Trump, meanwhile, emerged from the ordeal with her head held high. In a brief statement, she said, "This wasn't about me or my family. This was about setting a standard, a reminder that every child deserves respect, no matter who their parents are." The story became a cultural turning point, challenging society to rethink its values. It wasn't just about a joke. It was about the power of words and the responsibility that comes with wielding them. And as the dust settled, one thing became clear: compassion and respect must always come first.